as everyone can see, we have the basics in here. We have a simple little structure that's probably unrealistic, but in the sense that we have a slab on grade, we have a little car stacker pit, and it's pretty much tailored for design, right? We don't got much more going on than some verticals and some horizontals. So you guys might be thinking, well, to add foundations, we have to use the wall foundation tool, right? And I'll be using a lot of keyboard shortcuts today to kind of speed the process up. So if I add a wall foundation tool to these perimeter walls here, this is what Revit intended, to use this tool so that we're able to play with these base offsets and the foundations follow. From a concrete perspective, from a construction perspective, this tool is rather limited. It doesn't allow us to edit the family, right? I can't open this family like I could a column, right? Edit family. It doesn't allow me to open and embed more elements. So from our perspective, we need to keep it even more simpler. So let me adjust my 3D view here a little bit, and let's just focus on our foundations first. Let's just bring this guy down. And you're going to see that we do a lot of our work in 3D. As much as we can, we work in 3D. So I got a structural wall foundation on this side and one on this side. But let me just test that theory, and let's just kind of delete those for a second. And what I'm noticing here is this is a line, right? A wall is a line-based element. What other elements are line-based elements? Beams. So in structural concrete, anything that's got a length to it has got structural framing written all over it. Now, when you're learning Revit, people want to categorize, well, if it's a structural framing member, we put it on the structural framing category. But once you start using it Revit for more advanced functionality, you get away from that and you think of which category serves my purpose the best. So in this case, I'm going to use a beam. So keyboard shortcut for beam. And here I'll type in beam. So we got rectangular beams there. And actually, I need continuous footing. That was the one I was looking for. Good old GB1, right? Now I'm going to model this in 3D. So I want to use my pick lines and my 3D snapping. This is what makes us efficient, 3D snapping, using existing edges to place more elements. So I'll just select the underside of my beam. One there, one there. We know that it's offset. We can adjust that in plan view, okay? So let's just go ahead and adjust that here. One here. And one here. Okay, one down. Now we got to do the turn down edge. So right here on this edge of slab, right, this footing turns down. A lot of people look at the thickening family, right, as a turn down slab edge, and they use this structure portion here, slab edge. The problem with this tool is that it's not super efficient for us if we're trying to provide value rather quickly. Because if I click here and I place it, you can see that we have it as do not use. The reason is because we have to attach a profile to the slab edge and then the slab edge to the floor. So that means every time there's a change in the footing, we have to create two more elements, an additional slab edge and an additional profile to tie to it. So instead of that, we use another beam. So in my families on the left, I kind of minimize this here, you can see that we have under here, we got a thickened slab edge, right? And under three types that we got, we categorize them by phase of construction. When do they get poured? Because then we have a different material applied for our graphics. So I'm just going to drag and drop slab on grade.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Are these are not system families, right? So this is a custom family that you've created?
Yep, these are all custom families that are structural framing category in the structural framing category. So our efficiency kind of is all tied to families and how good the families are built, right? So same step, I'm still using beams, 3D snapping. I go to pick my existing edge. And the way that this family is built, it takes the total math from the top of the slab, so the top of this slab right here, to the bottom of the thickening. The bottom of the thickening is the top of footing. So this is where on our depth, we will follow the structural engineer. How deep is the top of footing? 1 foot. How wide is our footing below? Let's go with 18 inches. Let's go ahead and place that one there. And you can place one here and one here. Now I'll go ahead and cut that section so we can see this populate. All right. Little something here. And there we go. So that's what we got so far. If I select my thickening, you can see where I placed it. That was my 3D snapped edge. And because we're using a structural framing family, we're playing with Revit's hierarchy. Revit considers floors more important than beams. So it'll automatically cut out volume from a beam. And by making this family the same material as the floor, we don't have to worry about any crazy joints here. So right here, if I select this family, this is a slab on grade type. If I were to change that to foundation, I have an edge now because the materials are different. So little tip for those that want to get their graphics fast and quick, make sure your materials are set. So these materials are now both slab on grades. Now let's continue adding to this foundation. I'm going to hit my beam again. I used grade beam 1 under the wall, so let's go to grade beam 2. And again, I'm going to hit pick lines, and I'm going to pick the underside of the slab edge we just placed. There it is. Okay, 1 down. Now after it's placed, we keep refining. Select it, and now you get to play with your geometric position. You can type in right here, and it moves in. After you have that placed, you can use your trim command. Why can I use my trim command? Because it's a line-based tool. So now I can hit TS for trim single. I select my destinations, and life is good. Now, when you go to detail this out and you change your view template, everything's nice and clean. You don't got to worry about line working anything. You don't got to worry about hiding this one and adding that one, putting a filled region. You're letting your model do the talking.